Shalom. I'm Rabbi Joe Ozarowski. I'm the rabbinic counselor and chaplain for JCFS Chicago, and I help manage the Jewish Community Chaplaincy Program. Hanukkah is coming, bringing with it all sorts of memories and thoughts and feelings of the joy of lighting candles together, sizzling latkes and sweet sufganiyot, family and friends. And unfortunately, the coronavirus has put us all in situations where we can't be enjoying Hanukkah together, find ourselves by ourselves. And our Jewish community chaplains, who have gotten to know all of you and spent time with you, feel very much as if we are missing you and missing the Hanukkah time we'd be spending with you. We can't be with you at your various homes and places where you're living. And so we thought we'd put together this little video that will allow us to be with you, at least in this way. There'll be some singing, a little storytelling, some Torah, and the lighting of the Hanukkah candles. What would be Hanukkah without Hanukkah candles? We hope that you'll enjoy our little video presentation. Please sit back and enjoy it.
Nelly, Nelly, Nelly dakik, Hanukkah, neri adlik, Hanukkah, neri air, Hanukkah, shirim ashir. Candle, my candle, candle so fine. On Hanukkah, my candle will shine. On Hanukkah, my candle light. On Hanukkah, I'll sing with delight. Mi malel gvurot Yisrael otan biyimni, en bechol dor yakum hagibor goel ham. Qui peut raconter ce qui s'est passé? Qui peut dire dans chaque époque un héros s'élève pour nous sauver? Who can retell the things that befell us? Who can count them? In every age a hero or sage came to our aid.
Before we actually light the Hanukkah candles, I thought it would be fun to do a little time travel through Jewish history to discover why we light the Hanukkah candles the way we do. Our first stop is in 165 BCE, almost 2,200 years ago, when the Maccabees won the war against the Hellenistic Syrians and rededicated the temple after it had been desecrated by being used for pagan worship. The word Hanukkah means dedication or consecration, and so the Jewish leaders at that time decided that there should be a holiday with that name to commemorate both the military victory and the rededication of the temple. Since an important part of the rededication of the temple was the cleaning and rededication of the menorah, the large golden candelabra in the temple, it seemed logical that kindling lights would be an important part of the celebration of the holiday. But because Hanukkah is a relatively late addition to the Jewish calendar, it fell to the rabbis to decide how that would happen. So, fast forward a couple hundred years, and there's a text called a Baraita from sometime before 200 CE. And the rabbis taught that the mitzvah of Hanukkah is one light per household per night. That's the basic mitzvah. It still applies. And if you don't have access to a Chanukiah, you can kindle one light. If you don't have candles, you can kindle a lamp, an electric candle, whatever you have, and you're fulfilling the mitzvah. If we move beyond the realm of mitzvah into the realm of custom, there was a group of people called the Mahadrin who were a little extra meticulous in how they fulfilled mitzvot, and they would light one light per member of the household per night. But then there was a group of people called Mehadrin, Min HaMehadrin, people who are really meticulous, and they would change the number of candles they lit every night, depending on what night of the holiday it was. Now, you may have heard of the school of Shammai and the school of Hillel, two groups of rabbis who disagreed on just about everything. The school of Shammai said that you would start on the first night of Hanukkah with 8 candles, and every night you would go down one until by the last night you were only lighting 1 candle. The school of Hillel said that you would start with 1 and add a light each night until by the 8th night you were lighting 8 candles. We all know that the custom of the school of Hillel won out, because this is what we're used to seeing on the 8th night of Hanukkah. The reasons for their opinions are interesting too. To find out the reasons, we jump back in our time capsule, fast forward another couple hundred years, and we find 2 later rabbis who, surprise, disagree about the reasons for Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel's opinions. So, Rabbi Yosef bar Avin said that the reason for Beit Shammai's opinion is that the number of lights corresponds to the days of Hanukkah yet to come. So on the first night, there are 8 days yet to come. You light 8, on the second night 7, etc. Whereas he said that Beit Hillel's opinion was based on the number of days that have already been celebrated. So on the first night, we're marking the first day, the second night, second day, etc. Now, the other guy, Rabbi Yosef bar Zaveda, said that the reason for Beit Shammai's opinion is that the decrease in the number of lights each night corresponds to the bulls sacrificed on the festival of Sukkot. And this is from the Torah, actually, that says on the first day you sacrifice 13, on the second day 12, and you keep going down 1 each day. Now, you might ask, why are these guys connecting Sukkot and Hanukkah? Well, while the temple was desecrated, the Jews couldn't celebrate Sukkot, and so in a way, Hanukkah was a little bit like a delayed Sukkot. Now, Rabbi Yosef bar Zaveda said that the reason for Beit Hillel's opinion is that there's a principle that in matters of holiness, you elevate and you don't downgrade. So that if you want to adjust the number of candles based on the number of nights, you need to go up. You can't go down. I like that reason for Beit Hillel's opinion. And I'd like to add an emotional reason too. We celebrate Hanukkah during the darkest time of the year, and we really need that increasing light to give us hope that someday in the not too distant future, the days will start getting longer and spring will come again. And this year, in the dark time of COVID, when we have to do this by video instead of in person, we need that increasing light more than ever before. So now I'd like to invite you to join me in lighting the Hanukkah candles. And if you follow Beit Shammai's opinion, these are the candles for the first night. If you follow Beit Hillel's opinion, as most of us do, it's the candles for the 8th night. So we'll pretend. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kideshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Chanukah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa nisim lavoteinu bayamim hahem b'hazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu, v'kimanu, v'higianu lahazman hazeh. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who has sanctified us with mitzvot and commanded us to kindle the lights of Hanukkah. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who did miracles for our ancestors in those days at this season. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, who has given us life and sustained us and brought us to this time. Happy Hanukkah.
Baruch ate, singt der Tata, und zieht die Licht, und die Stahlen milde fallen auf sein blass Gesicht. Und auf Feier heilig Teier in die Augen leucht. Und der Mieter mit die Glieder hat sich ausgegleicht. Und es dacht sich, und es trach sich, sie ist noch etwas da. Sie ist geblieben, was zu lieben, heilig ist die Schau. Alte Klangen, lang verlangen, nein, es klingt noch als Lied. Sing Jetate, Poruchate, und ich bleib dein Kind.
Hi, I'm Rabbi Milton Wachschlag, and I would like to share with you today a couple of songs and hymns that are related to the holiday of Hanukkah. One of them is recited at the end of the Shacharit morning service every day during Hanukkah. And that is taken from Psalms 30, and it's known as Mizmor Shir Chanukat Habayit LeDavid. This is a hymn that was recited by David, King David, the author of most of the Tehillim, and it commemorates, celebrates the dedication of the Beit HaMikdash, the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, millennia ago. And it was adopted, naturally enough, by the sages and tradition following Hanukkah as an appropriate hymn to go with the holiday of Hanukkah, which itself commemorates the renewal and rededication of the Beit HaMikdash in its time, about 2,000 years ago. I'm going to sing a melody for Psalm 30, and then for Ma'oz Tzur, which will be more familiar to people. But the melodies will not, because the melodies are an inheritance from my father, who learned them in Poland before the Holocaust, brought them with him to America after the Holocaust, and taught his family these melodies. And these are what I would like to share with you today. Note in this first one, Mizmor Shir, the last half of it, which we'll be singing, the change in mood that tracks the words and the meaning of the psalm itself. We start in a pensive, prayerful mode, requesting God's kindness and beneficence. and we move on to a celebratory mode when we satisfy ourselves that salvation is coming. And we end, quite appropriately for a kind of military themed holiday like Hanukkah, we end in a march beat and tempo. So I think it's very interesting how the melody follows the sense of the words. And without further ado, here's how it goes. Eilech Adonai ekra, v'el Adonai eschanon. Ma betza b'dami, b'riditi el shachas. Hayodcha for ayagid amitecha. Shema Hashem v'choneni, Hashem heye ozer li. Shema Hashem v'choneni, Hashem heye ozer li. Hafachta mispedi le'macholi, pitachta saki, v'tazreini simcha. Leman yizamer chachavod v'lo yidom. Hashem hafach et hamispedi le'macholi, pitach et hasaki, v'tazreini simcha. Leman yizamer chachavod, leman yizamer chachavod, v'lo yidom, Hashem Elokai, le'olam, odeka. Now to turn for a moment to Ma'oz Tzur. Ma'oz Tzur Yeshua si l'chano l'shabeach. Well, that's how everybody sings it, but not in the Wachschlag family. Here's how my father sang it. Ma'oz Tzur Yeshua si l'chano l'shabeach, tikon beis tefilasi. V'sham toda nezabeach li'es tachin matbeach mitzoram nabeach. Azegmar v'shir mizmor Hanukkah samizbeach. And so on for 5 more verses, the same tune. I hope you enjoyed these melodies. I enjoyed sharing them with you. Have a very wonderful and happy Hanukkah.
Mosh viene la fiesta de la Hanukkah, a todos Moshe hinche de alegría. La mujer nunca manca de su tarea, por calle en combe Hanukkah. Hanukkah linda está aquí. 8 candelas para mí. Hanukkah linda está aquí. 8 candelas para mí. Oh, una candelica, 2 candelicas, 3 candelicas, 4 candelicas, 5 candelicas, 6 candelicas, 7 candelicas, 8 candelas para mí.
Hanukkah is known for many things, but one of the most beloved parts of Hanukkah is the dreidel. People love to play dreidel. You spin it, and it falls down, and depending on where it lands, you win or you lose. And of course, many of us know the dreidel song. I have a little dreidel, I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, Oh, dreidel, I shall play. I don't know about you, but I don't think I've ever had a clay dreidel. Most of mine are wood or maybe plastic or some combination of plastic and wood. I'd like to suggest there's a spiritual idea behind dreidel. We spin it and we wait for it to land, not knowing exactly where it lands. And that may be a metaphor for life, which we find ourselves spinning through and we don't always know where we end up. Certainly, if we think back to Hanukkah a year ago, did we ever think we'd be in this place on Hanukkah? Did we think we'd be alone, not being able to play dreidel with family and friends, not being able to hug grandchildren, not being able to eat latkes or sufganiot, or light the candles with the ones that we care about and the ones that we love? We never truly know where the dreidel of life lands. But I'd like to suggest the dreidel is also a message of hope. You know, the little letters on the dreidel, Nes Gadol Haya Sham, a great miracle happened there. Or if you're like my grandchildren in Israel, it says Nes Gadol Haya Po, a great miracle happened here. And if you know the game, you know that depending on where you land, it will tell you where you end up in the game. If you land on one side, you get the whole pot. You win. If you land on another side, you get half the pot, and you still win. If you land on a third side, it's neutral. You don't give and you don't get, but you don't lose. And only on one particular side do you have to lose. And when you lose, you put in one coin or one nut or one whatever currency you have into the pot. But the loss is not a terrible loss. So in the game of dreidel, which is the metaphor for the game of life, the hope is that you will win more than you lose. And if you lose, it should only be a small amount. My prayer for you is that your lives be healthy and filled with wins. And if there are losses, may they be small ones and easy ones. For our last song, Cantor Fortuné is going to sing a beloved song, which actually makes reference to dreidel. It's Hanukkah, O Hanukkah, in 4 different languages: Hebrew, Yiddish, French, and English. With that note, I wish you a happy Hanukkah, a freilichen Hanukkah in Yiddish, and in Hebrew, Chag Urim Sameach.
ימי החנוכה, חנוכה מקדשנו, בגיל ובשמחה ממלאים את ליבנו, לילה ויום סביבוננו יסוף, סופגניות נאכל גם לרוב. Hanukkah, oh Hanukkah, allumons les chandelles, dansant et chantant à cette fête belle, entourant la table, mangeant de bon appétit, jouant avec la toupie pour gagner des prix. Hanukkah, oh Hanukkah, Yom Tevasheiner, Halus de Gera Freilicher, Nitom noch Azoiner, alle Nachtin, Dreidel spielen wir, zu die Gesselatkes essen wir. Hanukkah, oh Hanukkah, come light the menorah, let's have a party, we'll all dance the hora, gather round the table, we'll give you a treat. Say we want to play with and latkes to eat, and while we are playing, the candles are burning low. One for each night, they shed a sweet light to remind us of days long ago.